Gonna make this a quick one, people, because Pulsechain is coming soon. No, it's not. I'm just kidding. I have no idea what's happening. I haven't seen any tweets in relation to the testnet v4 getting a Capella Shanghai upgrade on epoch 4.2.0.0, and there's definitely not an upgrade party with Gamma DevOps. Low. Mega low. Now, as we've seen, progression from V3 to V4, it's been pretty damn interesting to watch, to track and trace and analyze. But before I talk about that and building things that are decentralized, I'll cover some legacy finance and we'll see some of the better analysts and what they actually have to say, as opposed to me. I don't think you want to be listening to me for anything. Especially not this stream, especially not about crypto and experience, especially not about my general thoughts, especially not. We have this here now. Oh, and of course, my brilliant screen capture I decided to shove in the bottom of the screen. There we go. That fixes it up. Now, anyway, if you've heard about Executive Order 14067, Mr. Brandon, Joe Biden, signed Executive Order 14067 into law in March 2022. A few short months later, I introduced my readers to central bank digital currencies. Back in March 2022. Now, I honestly don't know how long I've been talking about these central bank digital currencies for, but I kind of diverted off of other areas to cover and sort of channeled into the cryptocurrency space. And lo and behold, the central bank digital currency has cropped up in a similar way where I channeled into equities back in the day when, rare earth minerals appeared and popped up. For some reason, I felt I needed to follow this. I'm not sure why, and I did. And it turned out to be quite interesting from that point of view, especially to see how much I was able to make in one day, how much I was able to lose over time through not taking profits, and just the general trend, even to this day, how they're still performing and how, as technologies have advanced, they're in more need, but they're super dirty, but they're not actually that rare. Kind of trippy. Now, back to this digital dollar, I guess you would call it, or central bank digital currency, or Biden bucks. In June 2022, this is what he said at the time. This is what I believe Section 4 of Biden's order means for all Americans. This is US based. He's laying down groundwork for the US dollar being made obsolete. Soon your cash will be confiscated or simply be worthless paper. The cash currency we have now will be replaced with a new programmable digital token. The truth is, few outside the deep state recognize Biden's move for what it really is. If my predictions are correct, this is so much more sinister than simply replacing the cash dollar with a new digitalized version. This new currency will allow for total control of all American citizens. Now, usually Australia follows the US, so it would allow for all control of Australian citizens if they should so choose to follow with the digital dollar or central bank digital currency. Moving on, the US dollar is being pushed aside and now seems that the mainstream media has finally caught onto Biden's plan. Finally, Fox News recently published an opinion piece that said under the leadership of President Joe Biden, under the leadership of President Joe Biden, the White House and the Federal Reserve have started to lay groundwork for a programmable, trackable, easily manipulated digital currency. It might sound like something from a dystopian science fiction novel, but it's all too real. And it soon could change life in America forever. But it's all too real, and it could soon change life in America forever and the world. I warned readers that with Biden bucks as our mandatory currency, it would be so easy for the government to confiscate assets and freeze accounts at will. In fact, Biden bucks could allow one party to hold onto power forever. Merrick Garland could say, "We have the voting records. We know if you voted for Trump, and if you did, we're going to disable your bank accounts." The Fox opinion piece went on to say, under the various CBDC proposals floated by the Biden administration and the Federal Reserve in the AUS, CBDC would be programmable, traceable, and designed to promote various left-wing social goals, such as improving financial inclusion and equity. FedNow, the Federal Reserve's digital payment system, is set to debut in July. The Fed claims that the system will allow bill payments, money transfers, such as paychecks and disbursements from the government, as well as a host of other consumer activities to move more rapidly at a lower cost, according to the program's goals. There has been some pushback from Republican politicians. Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis have both recently introduced bills to deter the Fed from establishing a CBDC. And as I mentioned last week, a high-level Fed member is now warning about the nefarious possibilities that could result from Biden bucks being implemented. Despite this pushback, the Biden administration is moving forward with a government-backed digital currency. This threat to your money is freedom. This is freedom. Is the opposite of freedom. This threat to your money and freedom is real. Luckily for you, I stay a step ahead of the Fed and the Biden administration. That is why I wrote a report called Asset Emancipation. In it, I'll show you some off-grid ways to protect your wealth and keep it out of the government sight. Besides my recommendation to allocate a percentage of your portfolio to physical gold, I urge you to click here to read that report. Information is key to protecting your wealth. Stay tuned as we keep you updated on further developments. Okay, now this is where I differ from this particular analyst. I do not believe as heavily in the physical gold aspect of portfolio diversification, not financial advice. I am more into cryptocurrency, simply because cryptocurrency has been able to perform at levels never seen before. What was the beginning price of Bitcoin when the first block was mined? Was there a price? Was there any liquidity? I don't think there was. What is the price now? How many X's is that? Compare that to even the best performing stock in the world. I would argue crypto has outperformed in a shorter time and with more punching power, with more penetration. What has Hex been able to do previously, although it is down from all-time highs? When it was first minted into existence, issued into existence, what has it done since? How many X's is it up? Compare that to most companies on the stock exchange. How has it performed? Relatively well, I would say, because there are a lot of penny stocks, they call them, speculative stocks that just fail and disappear with all your money, and as an investor, you're the one left holding as they rug pull. Because that's what crypto would call companies when they just literally rug pull. Anyway, that's not the point of this topic. What I thought I would cover is, it's kind of sad, it's kind of scary, it's kind of concerning. It makes me sad, it makes me concerned, it makes me worry for the future of the entire world. Because when you have top analysts talking about things that sound like conspiracy theories, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what is actually going on in the world. So whether or not you agree with that analysis or what I just read, that's up to you. But moving on. Is Pulsechain going to be decentralized enough? Well, that's going to be up to all those who partake in the system, whether or not you decide to become a validator, to run a node, and how many validators do you decide to run. Let's have a look. There's been recently an article, a segment we'll call it, where Brian Rose comes out and calls for the rise of decentralized independent media to fight censorship. Now, I do not disagree with that. I think he was in Texas for a cryptocurrency meetup that some people may be aware of. Now, I'll just let this play out, and I'd like to point out that I think Pulsechain and Hex and DeFi will play their part too in fighting back against censorship, keeping in mind what could be coming in regards to central bank digital currencies, keeping in mind that central bank digital currencies cannot coexist with cash and crypto. Maybe they can coexist with physical gold, but you have to sell your gold at some stage. And how are you going to sell it if there's no cash? That is what I ponder. It would be similar in a way to cryptocurrency. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a listen. Now, this is not to impose my beliefs on anyone. You all have free will. This is just the things that I'm hearing, that I've done some ever so brief research on.
We want to get this message out about as far as information. We want to tell this story about what happened to us as far as the censoring, because it's continuing to happen and it's going to come back in another wave that I think is going to be even worse. So what I want to do now is just decentralize everything, Alex. I want to get it peer-to-peer. One thing I didn't mention is that big live stream we did on May 3rd. 2/3 of the viewers of that came from peer-to-peer sharing. Nothing to do with a big tech platform. No social search.
So we're building by using it, by us doing it, by them using it, we're building a new infrastructure.
Yes, and that's crucial, and it has to be money-based, it has to be community-based, and information-based. If we don't build this now, and we've got a short window, and check the AI coming, we don't really have much of a future, and it's all happening very fast.
Well, let me back up what you said. You said they're going to hit us with something new, even worse. The Restrict at is an internet ID. If you use VPNs, they can put you in jail for 20 years if they want. It surveils everything in the name of countering Huawei. It has nothing to do with Huawei. Accesses all the new smart devices in your home. Lets the government take those over. It's so outrageous. I can't even believe it when I read the bill. They've got that and all these other systems. So they're trying to deploy all this right now ahead of something big.
Yeah, I mean, once they have a record of all of your information, all of your activity, then it's very easy to go after you in the future for anything that they choose. So this is happening.
Okay, so you could say that is a conspiracy, or you could compare it directly to what top analysts happen to be talking about in regards to a central bank digital currency. Not even mentioning the Restrict Act, but rather Executive Order 14067, which was signed into law by our friend Joe Biden. He's the president of the US and holds a lot of power. For that, I feel there should be respect. But from what I'm seeing, from all the information data streams I am picking up on, I have a bad gut feeling about where that country is headed, and where my country is headed, and where the world is headed. Because I don't think we want to live in some dystopian nightmare like 1984. 1984 was on a playbook. Anyway, let us go back, and I might just continue to play this one through. It should be okay for YouTube. This is purely a reactionary video. And if you do censor me, then I'll be going over to Rumble, because that's where everyone's probably going to go into the future. I hate to tell you, YouTube. I hate to tell you.
Happening again, your power with AI gets even more dangerous. So we just all have to be super vigilant.
Thank you for tuning in. If anyone's tuning in, this is basically a reactionary video in relation to decentralization of independent media.
And we are now into hour number 2, and Brian Rose is a fellow American, but launched...
And I would say decentralization of cryptocurrency, real DeFi, which is not, I repeat, not a bad thing in my opinion, because of what is going and taking place in the US in regards to Executive Order 14067, and in regards to a central bank digital currency, and in regards to the Restrict Act. It's all coming to a head, people. And Pulsechain might play its part in actually making good in this world.
This is
Even
very
more
popular
good, mind
TV
you,
show
because
and
it's already
program
helped so many
out of
hands.
London, England, is with us in studio. He was here for the big blockchain event that's been ongoing in Austin. Brian Rose is founder, host, and CEO of London Real. Lived a successful business career as a banker in Wall Street, the city of London, to start London Real. His life from that point had delivered on the promises of his university education at MIT and his personal ambitions, but he felt empty. So he quit his job and started a podcast to share his journey. He fought resistance to turn London Real into a new generation media business with over 500 million views, more than that now, 2 million subscribers. Brian has conducted over 500 in-depth interviews and as an antidote to the numbing effects of the mainstream media. Brian also founded London Real Academy, offering live partnership, mentorship, and courses designed to help you transform yourself. LondonReal.tv. And I learned he was in Austin yesterday, so I asked him to come on the show. Perfect time to have him on for a big 35,000-foot view on the economy, Ukraine, the wars, the huge awakening that's happening. But obviously, first and foremost, thanks for being here. Let's get into Tucker Carlson. I mean, 60-something million views on Twitter, hundreds of millions of views, top story, everything he said now magnified, the entire anti-globalist agenda exploding everywhere, the deep state panicking. This is emblematic of them not thinking multi-moves ahead. What would it do if they fired Carlson? People keep asking why they fired him. The answer is the show, everything he did. And I've talked about the inside baseball without giving away too much, but he had a contract that he got a third of the money he would have gotten if they controlled his show. So he took 20 million instead of 60 million to have control, but they kept taking control. And so that's why I said on March 8th, I think Tucker will be gone in a few months. Did he know it was coming at that time? No, but he expected it, and he's definitely been researching and how to launch his own operation. And you saw him just on an iPhone last night, the top story, hundreds of millions of views. That has got to really be emblematic of the entire cable news system for 3 or 4 days won't have that many views. This has really got to illustrate that this is a facade. This is a paper tiger. So give us your take on that.
What I might do.
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing, and it was only a matter of time before Tucker broke out. And like you said, he's going to be bigger than ever.
I don't know about the
once
shirt,
he gets his own platform and maybe a studio like yours here. And it just goes to show where this is all headed.
That Roger Stone guy, he's got some pretty good like fashion tips
encouraged me
on
to set up my own
types of
platform
suits
3
to
years
wear.
ago because we were getting shut down by the big tech
dress a little bit nicer
and
on some
you always
strings.
said, Brian, once I got shut down
For the
from them, I
moment,
became
I'm just
bigger than
gonna
ever.
hide my
But I think
face.
Tucker is going to be bigger than ever as well.
Once Pulsechain launches,
you're a smart guy. I
if and when it launches,
keep digging into that. I mean, your view on this, what you're seeing happening. Did the establishment think he would just disappear?
I rejoined the gym.
No, they know better.
So,
and like I said, he's going to have even
I should
more
be able to
control,
fit into
more
the suits
power
again
if he
a
can
bit
get this
better.
next
They'll be a
setup
bit more
right,
baggy,
and he'll be
basically.
an even bigger voice.
Or I might get bigger again.
I guess you saw
They'll
this
be
coming.
tight, so
I didn't know it was going to happen
we'll see
so
what
fast.
happens.
It still flabbergasts me that they would throw away that kind of.
This is I haven't seen this yet, so I'm just reacting to this myself.
But how much longer is mainstream media going to even be around at this point?
Well, that's what most people are saying is Fox News is dead. Cable news is already dead. So the last dinosaur has basically fallen into the mud and is dead.
And then not to mention what we call these Web 2 platforms.
Are you going to do a stream when Pulsechain drops,
still
man?
Debatable. How much longer are those going to be around?
That'll be
where
pretty
people
cool.
Can't have direct relationships with their fan base. That's kind of why I'm in town for the blockchain conference, where people can actually have a direct relationship, cut out the middlemen, ultimately cut out the banks, cut out the governments, so we can really finally have a system where we can go peer to peer. I think that's where Tucker's heading, and I think
I can't help but think everyone will start streaming
again.
again.
3.5 years ago, you were routinely getting 2-3 million, 4 million views on your show on YouTube, and they started censoring you. And it wasn't rocket science. I said, you got to launch your own thing. You got to do it now. And you did it just in a few months, and it's been even more successful, and you're still able to be on all those other platforms. Because as soon as you have your own thing,
have you seen his backstory, London Real?
Making the move to shut you down.
It was a pivotal moment. It was
his
April
first
6,
podcast. He had,
I had the second largest
2 viewers.
YouTube live stream in the world. 65,000 people tuned in to watch that conversation I had with David Icke.
That's at any one time, so then it builds up from that.
Yeah, exactly. It was massive. It would have gone on to be the most watched podcast in human history. Would have gone on to be watched maybe 40 million times. Would have edged out what at the time was Rogan and Musk, about 30 million. And yet 30 minutes later, YouTube banned and deleted that conversation. Alex, I have been broadcasting for 9 years. Never once had I been censored. And that started this massive fight that we had.
Basically, test that.
So is it safe to say, by you not rolling over, because I know you had a chance, I know they approach people.
And basically, in simple terms, people are going to be able to withdraw their money. withdraw their test
became even more
polls.
successful. Is that what happened?
So
That's exactly what happened.
what
And
else?
I have
You know,
recorded conversations
I'm thinking
of me with my
if
YouTube
V3 was
representatives that are gonna be
complete,
in our documentary
except for
film that's
that,
coming out, where I can literally
and the
see
upgrades, the
them
moving of the
basically
decimal point
violating
with the
laws,
validators.
violating freedom of speech issues, going with their
wonder
policy, and
how
completely
far away
contradicting
it
themselves
may
as they
actually
tried to
is,
censor me
because
repeatedly throughout
it
that
seems
time.
very close,
We created
man.
our own
It
platform,
feels very
got bigger
close.
than ever. And
But
now
you never
they've
know, because what if they find a
slowly
bug?
acquiesced little bit, but it's
What
only
if,
gonna come back.
Exactly. These bullies and tyrants.
Something
just run
unforeseen
over you if
happens,
you give in to
which
them. You
delays
have to
things
defeat them.
further.
They're not God. There's not just
But it's
bad
been a
people
while,
in the world.
man.
There's
It's been
people
a
with
while.
freedom, and I think the public now gets how serious things are. That there is a deep state, there is a uniparty, not just here but different countries.
I honestly
and as
hope
that awakening
Pulsechain
happens,
launches
I
is
don't see how
decentralized
they're gonna
as
reverse this, other than I guess a nuclear war, a controlled power outage, a cyber attack. I mean, how do you think
can be like a
these
pushback
corrupt
against, you
interests
know, the
grab
anti-crypto
victory for the
people, if there is
Johnson
such thing as
Well, first of all,
anti-crypto
it only
people. I'm
takes a
not even
few
sure.
people to push back, Alex. That's what's really important to remember. And what they do with these tech platforms, YouTube in particular, first they stop your virality. Then they take away your monetization. Then they give you a strike. Very few people, Alex, will keep on fighting. But if you do, you realize there's nothing there. It's like
Randomly,
you know, it's
I had this
like
super,
they're just
I had this super old channel randomly, like he's saying.
somebody behind the
It was
curtain.
up for
It's like
years,
Neo in the Matrix.
and then out of
It is.
nowhere,
And once you see it and blast through it, then
I get like
their
this
power
warning, this little
diminishes,
message
and
saying,
people are
"Oh,
like, wait a second,
we're
it's
just
a few
giving you a
people.
warning,
It's controlling
like
this, and once
your
you
channel
push
hasn't
out,
got a
everyone
strike or
realize
anything
that we
like
can't
that,"
fight back.
and they sent
We
me
got
this
some real
huge
issues to consider.
No, I
email.
agree. It's not like we've won the war yet, but we're starting to win
And
battle
then
after battle after battle. It's like George
the channel just
Washington
disappeared.
lost
I was like,
almost all the
dude,
battles
what the
last
hell?
year. They started winning them. I think we're
that's it.
crossing
It's
over that
gone.
point, but I don't want to be overconfident. I'm going to ask a question
Now I
again.
back up everything
What
on
do you
Rumble.
think the deep state's going to do to try to stop us?
So I'm really concerned
Count
about
Jack.
artificial intelligence coming up here. I don't know if they can control it. They're going to try to control it.
I'm guessing you're
but I
referring
think
to
it's something
Zen.
we all need to really wake up and think about it. I've been going really deep on this
Jack
lately, Alex. I've been having a lot of experts on my show.
I did see some
looking at
stuff on
of these
Twitter about
companies in the
that.
Tech. Quite frankly, it's frightening, and I don't think
I
the
don't know.
public has their eye on it yet, and it's going to come very, very
If it hasn't
fast.
broken
Exponential
Ethereum
growth.
yet,
And you've been a big financial guy.
I
big
can't
banker,
see
so
it
you understand this
breaking
stuff.
other
Explain to them
chains.
really what AI is, because they advertise it as
It would be
God,
so
it's gonna
funny
fix
if, like,
everything, but really it's whatever these people program it as.
Yeah.
Jack
First of all,
secretly in
it's
the background
the
just, like,
largest, adoption of
helping
technology
everything
in
out
history. This
with
ChatGPT
Pulsechain.
thing went from 0 to
Oh, let's
1
stress
million
test
users
it, you
in
know?
4 days, went to 100 million users in 2 months. That's unprecedented.
I've
We've
not
never
been
seen
following
not
that
the
chain.
Internet, not the mobile phone. This is potentially going to
I'm pretty sure I
make
minted
humans obsolete.
some,
And I think we need to be
barely any.
aware of that and try to make
And-
sure it's not controlled by the big tech companies.
But yeah, then all this other
government,
stuff
and
happened. I'm like,
find a
dude,
way
I'm
to
just not
decentralize it and
following this.
understand it.
Same
it's really
with-
going to take over, and it's going to happen.
Oh, what is it?
within
Pulse
years.
Well,
Doge.
absolutely. You know, the
And then that
globalists
whole
thought they wanted
mining
worldwide
system. I was like,
government to
nah,
stop
I'm not
disruptive
following that.
But then at the same time, they're just
Could've.
racing ahead. Like
But it was the
mad
same way
scientists
as
to get
when
technology to
liquid
control
loans came
us,
out. I'm like,
when
no,
the
I'm not.
technology they're creating is obviously
I'm
the
waiting
threat
for
to them and us.
Pulsechain.
It makes no
I'm
sense.
chilling with Hex.
Yeah, and they can't
and
control
airdrops,
this. That's the other
derivatives.
issue. Now, I've had people come to me and say,
beyond
Brian,
that,
you're taking this out of context when tractors
nah.
came.
I've got to
and
stand for
workers
something
were
or fall for
productive.
anything,
When
you know?
the computer came, it
Nothing-
made the rest of
nothing
us more
against all that
productive. But
stuff,
artificial
but-
intelligence can improve on
Yeah.
itself, and it will potentially make all of us obsolete, in which we can do something about it. So I don't think the government really knows what they're playing with here.
Oh, they don't. It's a mad gold rush where they're just trying to be the leader in it, as Elon Musk said, so there's no controls.
Yeah. Yeah, and Elon knows
Conspiracy
it better than
theory.
anybody. He set up
Hex was
OpenAI
designed by
in 2018,
AI.
so it would be open sourced, nonprofit. Of course, that got co-opted. It's no longer
I don't
open
think
source.
that. I'm just
Microsoft
kidding.
now controls it. He's trying to set up his own. He at least is trying to move forward on freedom of speech. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But this is a real war, and it's happening now, probably in the next 6 months.
When we come back, I want to ask you about AI and the economy and the wars, but also
This
first
is
Elon Musk,
this stuff's getting insane.
obviously, he's
I don't know if the AI's come up
deep
for all
inside
of
the
us.
establishment, but when there's fissures in the establishment.
Can you just turn the AI off?
We have to expect it as humanity wants freedom and we stand up and speak out.
I don't know.
We have to be ready for big dogs in the system to join us. We can't be like, oh, we don't trust you now because you weren't with us before. No, I mean, as the worm turns,
Really?
we have to be ready for victory.
He said it won't be hard to
And
break.
again, some people you think have one agenda,
Man,
it flips into another
it's
agenda.
just-
and pretty
was that-
soon they're
I'm pretty sure
actually
that's Twitter
exposing
stuff, eh?
Great tools that we can use in our agenda. So
I totally agree, because here's how I put it. The things Elon Musk is doing is so damaging to the globalist model, it's irreversible.
I don't know.
They would not.
It's probably not good to talk about other people when they're not with you,
Lines
you
they
know?
don't cross. Brian Rose of LondonReal.tv is here with us on the Alex Jones Show on this Thursday.
I'm surprised.
I want to get back into AI.
Breaking that rule. I'm surprised that all played out.
You've been
It was like he introduced, spoke. The next thing he was like launching. Wasn't he talking about apple cider vinegar coin or something?
I'm not an apologist for Elon Musk.
And then it was like he was a hexagon, and then he just branched out and just
I just see him
exploded.
Going from getting a lot of big government contracts and doing a lot of important work that he was successful at, to now branching out and attacking.
I hope it's successful for everyone who participated,
coming out against the censorship.
It's just another person on the side of crypto, I think.
Twitter, goes on everywhere else. I mean, it would take an hour to list it all. These things are irrevocably damaging them. Watching them come after his company.
What you call allegiance would be toward Hex, because
we could speculate
the amount of people not talking about it just made me wonder.
But this is very exciting. But look at what Tucker's doing.
And the whole launch.
These are bellwethers or major dominoes to fall.
Yeah.
And I predict
these people continue to ignore
will,
it. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
We are not on the cusp. We've already gone over the top of a snowball that the establishment won't be able to stop. What do you think?
Elon.
I think when you start fighting for human rights and for free speeches, it becomes addictive. So you can look back at a few years ago and look at what Elon was doing, and you can have different opinions on that. But once you get in the fight, Alex, I mean, they picked a fight with me back in 2020, and once they did, I went all in on this, created the platform, started pushing back even harder, and I think that's what I see in Elon. I'm telling you, Alex, when he released those Twitter files, I had a moment. Because I thought I was going crazy, Alex.
Imagine if it is, man.
When I got systematically deplatformed from PayPal, from Dropbox, from LinkedIn, and I thought, wait a second, is there really a bunch of people acting together? Then I read the Twitter files. I saw actors like the CIA, the FBI going in. What I want to see, Alex, is the YouTube files, because I think they'll be more interesting. And so, look, my hats are off to Elon. I think he's with us. I think he's going to keep pushing forward and throwing a monkey wrench in the establishment.
I agree. I covered this last hour, but U.S. Army high-level PsyOps expert retired said, look, they're threatening Fox with the CIA. They're using the CIA. I've experienced that myself. It's come out in congressional hearings.
Jesus.
So what do? They go offer employees money to lie about you, but there's no proof, so it goes nowhere. That's now come out with this so-called employee suing him. He never even met her or talked to her. It's all just made up. But, I mean, that's the best they've got. So, a CIA title. Well, most of the former CIA and a lot of the current are on our side joining us now. So don't be intimidated by the deep state, folks. It's a joke. They're working for the collapsing system. They're the fools. They're the quislings.
Well, I mean, this information war is the stakes keep going up and up and up, Alex. And I'm really curious where you think this is going to go, because again, not to draw
I wonder where
AI again, but we're starting
crypto is going to sit in all of
fakes
this.
That are real fakes. We're starting to see voices. We're starting to see pictures. We're starting to see videos that are being created.
People would just be like,
and again, you understand
crypto
information wars better than anybody
against
here.
CBDCs, because I feel like that's what's going to come to a head.
Funny you say that. I'm sure you saw it. Was the Washington Post 2 weeks ago said the State Department and the CIA are now deploying deep fakes for policy. So they're the ones driving it while they warn us all about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is happening out there. You've probably seen the headlines.
See,
about
I can't even differentiate now
and them getting AI
between
phone calls from their kids,
AI
and, doing the ransom
content.
thing. Right now in Kuwait, they have a news.
It's crazy.
Who's
like
completely
you
AI,
can't believe anything anymore.
In a weird way,
because of
like
this
us as humans are even being conditioned
variable, which is now AI, which can produce. And how long have they had it for?
Human union that says no, we want human hands.
It's fascinating stuff to think about.
Certified. If anything's a fact checker, this is human.
We're going to have to find a way to verify these things in the future. Truth. That's why I'm a big fan of the blockchain, because it's a public ledger that we can potentially all see.
Yeah, blockchain.
But right now, I mean, you know what they've gone to the Wayback Machine and deleted things off the Wayback Machine. I'm sure you know some of this stuff that Robert Malone was talking about. The CIA was doing. We don't even have a record of what is true that happened in the past.
The Wayback Machine was altered.
And I've noticed suddenly.
God damn.
The New York Times 2 weeks ago got caught, but there's thousands of examples just this month where they said that Edward Snowden worked for WikiLeaks and published it in WikiLeaks. He didn't publish it there. He published it elsewhere. That's a known lie. And the New York Times said, we don't care. So they're just planting completely fake things they know to create a false history.
Yeah.
Like you're saying,
again,
if
this
it's
whole Wayback Machine was supposed to
already
be an
in
exact
control
copy of everything the internet ever published, but it looks like that has now been tampered with. So what do we do going forward? How do we verify these things?
See, that's why the camera can't be on, man. I'm just like a semi-intellect. What's it called?
There should be
artificial intelligence
groups, not their fake fact checkers that we certify, we believe in, who then separately save the internet and separately create archives and then put out certifications.
Yes,
this
it
is
has
just
to be going forward. What do you think Elon's going to do with this going forward? And where do you think his head lies? Is he going to keep pushing for freedom of speech? I mean, every tweet seems like he is on the right side.
Well, I mean, he's releasing the documents that prove the government was running Twitter, and basically
That's insane,
the
right?
other major ones. So, yeah,
That's what that email is pulling up.
devastating.
It's like, hang
what
on.
he's doing is devastating them, and again, it shows
And then Elon
us,
releases Twitter files.
look, here's
It's
the
like, hang
thing.
on, when you
On
repeat
Monday,
this, you sound
I had an
absolutely
extensive
insane.
meeting
But it's
with
like, it actually
high-level
happened.
Federal official and federal officers who said, no, the government has tens of thousands and is letting kids be kidnapped, and we have the documents, and here it is, and it's going to be coming out soon, and we want to, give you more of this.
It's just insane
and
stuff.
this is really in court records. So
He used to pull up, like,
let me tell you, when you're sitting there talking about that
documents
level,
showing
they're
this.
saying, we're done, we're not part of this. The evil's so bad, it's going to force a bunch of good people that were on the fence or they didn't know what to do to take action. So I think that's why there's a race to get AI in to head us off at the pass.
Do you see other tech platforms being alarmed by what Elon's doing? Do you think their policies are coming back a little bit, coming a little bit more to be accepting the free speech right? And do you think that's temporary if it is?
I have not seen Google or YouTube back off. They've gotten worse. But yes, Facebook has backed off a little.
Can you imagine
and so have some of the
Pulsechain,
others
freedom?
after Elon. But
I hope I
don't
get
know
my
if that's policy or
PLS
because
addresses.
now Twitter is feeding
I think
so
one's
much
going to
truth.
be free
It is, folks.
speech,
Alex Jones is still
and then one's going to be Info Warrior from an old Twitter account, which I got
don't
back.
report that because the enemy already knows that. But I mean, I can see what Elon's. I mean, Alex Jones
After
is
got
unbanned.
banned randomly.
So I mean, I don't officially have a Twitter.
I was like,
but I've been
what
unbanned.
the
So see, I
hell?
don't go off what somebody says. His attack.
It
on me
almost
was so
seems like that,
ridiculous, I
hey?
figure it out
Like
later.
it's
I'm not going to get into
almost
it. The point
like
is, his attack on me a few months ago was so big. It was like, here, I'll free
you
all
have,
these people, but you can crucify Alex Jones. I was like, great,
depending on
good.
what you
But I
believe
can
in,
also see
you can
that
go on the
government's taken
internet
off.
and find,
And
like
the bad guys know that.
what you think is the facts or information to back it up, and then you sort of form like a group, and then you can go and argue with the other side. Like if I thought like I was all into aliens or something, you then go on the internet and you find all this stuff. It's really fascinating. Everyone like goes online. It's almost like
But I can tell you what's happening.
the internet is purely there to keep us distracted. It feels like, oh, I'm changing the world by making. Well, this stream's different because I'm actually like interacting with someone else on the other end. But like,
Now they've already lost.
say you're on Twitter, you're just posting stuff or shit posting or liking things that like seem cool, like funny.
No, it's definitely true.
It's like, oh, I'm changing the world doing this, but you're not actually doing anything. You're just like sitting there in front of a computer, like that's literally nothing.
I think they're very concerned about their own files being
And then it's
released
like,
at some
well,
point.
what's
And
more?
again, there's
What,
criminal
you could be
action there,
studying
so
a
it's
text,
gonna be
reading a
interesting to see
textbook,
what
or you could be
happens.
reading a fictional story. Okay, yeah, it's entertainment.
They've all lied to Congress
But
saying
then,
they weren't. And it's all
yeah,
confirmed they
it's
did.
just, it's a funny
We
world,
know the
man.
dashboard documents even from
I saw a
Twitter come
documentary
out.
about
They
this
were
as
coordinated
well.
with all the other
They
tech
say
companies.
that
Not just the big other 4 or 5, but dozens of them.
they basically say there's
No, because we'd
opposition,
already got
which is
pieces of it
controlled
we already
opposition,
had.
and they drop in InfoWars into that,
He put me in touch
and all
with
other
Google
groups as
whistleblowers when I
well.
was first getting
It
the
wouldn't
platform
surprise me.
4 or
Like
5 years ago,
it
that
wouldn't
was the
surprise me
documents and the dashboards of what they were doing. So we already knew, and it was all
that
hooked into
actually
the other tech.
exists.
They were all
Like
coordinated.
purely
So a lot of this had already come out. It's
feed
just that
out
with the Twitter files, you
over
can't find it.
hyperactive
It's like all in one
brains
big piece.
information that
And
we
yet
want
the
to
Twitter
believe is
files
true.
themselves have been suppressed
Like
by
you
the
should-
media, which means the average Joe in
Some
public
weird stuff
still
out
doesn't
there.
understand
It's
the
crazy.
ramifications of the Twitter files.
Like
Exactly. Amazing.
the
Mr.
whole
Rose, stay right there.
David
We'll be
Icke
right
lizard
back.
thing.
LondonReal.tv.
I'm like,
Check it out.
dude, I don't know if I can go into the shape-shifting lizards rule the planet, like, and then the flat Earth thing. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I just yeah. And then you say that, and I would think some of this stuff,
1776 testosterone
but then
boost
people would look at me
is
like
back
I'm
in
insane.
stock. It is a private label of the number one
it's just-
best-selling natural testosterone booster.
I think
on the market.
I need to
It
make
does
my own
incredible
content,
things for
you know,
men, but
and then
women
like, push it
also
out,
love it.
whatever I
Ladies
think,
and
and then
gentlemen,
hook up with other
you
people.
need to experience this product for yourself. I never have.
The one
any
thing I like
issues
about
with
this,
the libido
they come back
department,
most of
but
the
it's
time.
always good to
Most of them
supercharge
seem to
it
come
and
around
take it
and
to the
say
next
like
level.
promote
I'll tell you,
freedoms, you
bottom
know,
line,
get
my
together.
wife is blown
When they see something
away.
that's not right, don't assume it's a way. You know, I think that's the good thing behind
telling
it.
you, at 49, I've got
To
more
different levels,
energy
though.
in
Like-
that department than I had when I was 18.
Like with the shapeshifters, man, it's like I don't know what to say to that. Okay, yeah, there could be a group of people in power,
back in
but
stock at InfoWarsStore.com. It's also great for your muscles, your body, your energy, your workouts. Get 1776.
well, like
testosterone boost
the
at
article
InfoWarsStore.com.
I was showing you before, he was literally
We will
previously
not
an
be
analyst for them.
silenced. Brian Rose CEOs of London Real
alphabet
TV.
agencies.
With us. I'm Alex Jones, your host. And notice the theme.
It's really interesting stuff.
They tried to silence him, and they made him bigger because he persevered and didn't give up and reached out to others.
But then that's just
quest for
what I mean. Like,
and you have had such a massive effect.
Yeah.
Most of the listeners know who you are. But I mean, so many.
Have you seen
critical big stories that really
the AI that can alter people's eye movements? I'm not sure if you can do it in real time, but you can actually make the eyes so now that we're to make it always look at the camera. It's insane.
Well, your documentary saved the
I'm like, dude, what is that? I guess if you move your head around heaps, you can't do it. But if you keep your head dead still, like you can make the eyeballs, the eye can alter the eyeballs to make it always look like it's dead.
The FBI, they're all weaponized
straight into the camera. The eyes look dead straight into the camera. It's crazy.
They're in interfaces digitally. And yes, remember they wanted the Justice Department 2.5 years ago when parents didn't like critical race theory or transgenderism being taught to their kids. They were just speaking up at city council. They said, well, send the feds, call them terrorists. It turns out Biden 2 years ago sent letters to the teachers unions to say, call for us to come. They want to use the government to intimidate parents. Did that work? No, parents got even more aggressive and started speaking out nonviolently. So, okay, use the CIA on Alex Jones. Use it on Tucker Carlson. Use MI6 or MI5 on London Real. Use people to lie about us.
It's fascinating to think about it, though.
This and that and call us Nazis. Everybody gets your MO. It doesn't work. At the same time, I've got people in every age as you can imagine, and former as well, that are giving us the intel and fighting and are totally awake and pissed. So we've passed the point where we have more people in the deep state than they have. They just have the folks on the top. But as you said earlier, Brian, it's the next shoe to drop.
See, I wonder, the question is then,
or whistleblow
talking about alphabet agencies,
out of Facebook,
where do they stand in the cryptocurrency space, you know?
Makes them so dangerous. So tell us about your new documentary and we'll apply the
I've always thought,
so we were at the tip of the spear.
I've always thought
happened, as you know, Alex,
crypto itself, you know how they talk about the psychological operations that is run by a ruler higher up in some agency somewhere and causes,
there's so many weren't at that point,
you know, and creates theater for everyone to believe, basically.
Fighting for that back in April. Back in April, there was very
so it's not like,
few people that were.
It's not so much that, you know, me and Senzu for creating a psyop with this stream. It's like,
let's not
you know, like the
January, February,
the lizard
March,
people.
April.
It's like the government allowing the proliferation of the lizard people narrative to continue to exist.
Yeah, I mean the timeline was crazy. It was January, the virus is being reported.
Yes, have you seen I was trying to upload every single video onto I think it was DTube possibly at the time.
We were having in-person conversations and broadcasting,
and I didn't get around to doing it because everything got taken down off of YouTube in relation to this particular content. And there's a really good video, I'm not sure if you've seen it. I've been trying to find it, I cannot find it, man.
To help us build this brand new
they do. And they all started from nothing.
Off the largest live stream broadcast of a human conversation. Me and David,
basically,
if you remember, Alex, there were no sporting
it was Alex Jones
Everybody was locked inside.
and Joe Rogan very early on, just sitting around talking like we are now.
In
you know?
retrospect, 98% of what we were saying was true. But back then, lab theory,
that's about it. It's really fascinating to watch.
Right? Questioning the vaccine.
I cannot find it though, man. I cannot find it. It's black gone.
Asking about social distancing. Nobody was doing that.
And again, I keep harping on this, guys. Just type in. Everybody's seen the headlines. London Guardian.
It's like when the
Telegraph.
when he snuck into Bohemian Grove. There's some pretty good footage on that.
Washington Post. U.S. intelligence agencies.
I have no idea how I found this content.
German EU intelligence
One day
agencies are helping use psyops to scare people
psyops.
to stay in lockdown
Psyops.
shots and to censor disinformation. So again, we were up against intelligence agencies.
Yeah,
it's almost like
illegal.
The internet.
That's illegal. And now with the Twitter files, it's all become
has allowed us to.
The thing that killed me is this, Alex.
Follow
it. Took away my right to.
And what I mean by that is previously we all followed, the TV. There was one narrative and kept everyone calm and placid. Now the internet's been unleashed, and like they can't control the different talking points, whether it be
the company. So they have the best of both worlds. They denied it to my
whatever
face,
you might think, you know. And these different talking points just keep proliferating. frustrating, and it's
the public
insane.
needs to know about what happened.
And I do think
wanna ask
decentralization
about
will
YouTube. I want
either.
the Google files out.
Well, I think it will help us all. I don't think it will destroy us all. But the amount of division I'm seeing across the world right now is absolutely insane. I don't like it. It's like ripping countries apart.
Let's go ahead and roll the trailer.
It's like, when was that?
The past few
I
weeks,
can't remember that one.
seem
If I
like a
see it, I
blur.
might remember.
Our homes became prisons. Mothers are afraid to touch their children.
It's funny though, like these guys, and it, like if they were controlled opposition,
Are a danger to
is it
public
just
health.
to make us all feel like we're free and to bring
We're a few
about,
seconds away
you know,
from streaming one of the most controversial
what's going on
conversations of the
in the
decade.
like from a different point of view?
Cameras
I'm
are
not
ready.
sure how that would work.
We are ready. But I wonder, is the world ready?
This is London Real. I am Brian.
Imagine if they
Rose.
were
My guest
just
today is
normal
David
dudes,
Icke.
just like us.
What happened after that
They
broadcast?
just got huge, you know, nothing could stop
interview
them.
with David Icke was removed from YouTube. If you take that guy off, you just make him bigger.
I did not know David Icke was off YouTube.
I want to be with Brian.
See, the whole thing with the censorship, why don't they just let?
That is the future, and that will never be defeated.
Yeah.
What the hell just happened?
Imagine though, right?
Will
Like,
not be silenced. Wow, when's this come out? Very impressive.
what was I saying?
July, it's gonna
Like,
blow
wouldn't they
everyone's
just
mind
let
and remind
David
them
Icke just stay
that
on
we're still in
YouTube?
this
Like,
information
why
war.
censor it?
Oh,
It just makes
I
it
was
seem
going to the
like
next question.
it makes it seem like they're hiding
They're not going to
something.
give up. They admit new diseases they're going to release, new censorship. This was the base.
It's like saying, okay,
Whoa, we kind of won this
Santa
war. They
Claus
killed a bunch of people that took
is
a bunch of
real,
rights.
but
Bunch
just
of people
don't go
committed
look in that
suicide,
closet
masks on,
over
trans
there.
problems, but
And
we're glad
no,
we're
wait,
out of
what?
that.
Why?
Successful
Don't,
people
nah,
kind of
don't,
dust ourselves off and aren't
don't.
victims. We
You know, don't.
kind of
And
deal
it's
with
like,
trauma. No. Don't get over
at
the
some
trauma.
point, you're gonna
Remember
open it up
to
and be
stop
like,
the next
why is
wave.
there
David
a
Icke
box
calls
of
it the
Santa
totalitarian
clothes there?
veto.
You know,
We've
like.
actually been now conditioned to where we'll go back into
It's almost like
on a
is
moment's
it
notice.
to
We'll use a QR code. We've actually been trained, Alex, to go
draw
right back
out the
into this
inquisitive.
whenever
I'm
it's
not
deemed
sure.
necessary. So we have to be even more vigilant than ever. And guess what? Their information powers, their powers to.
It feels
go after
like
us are
with the
just
whole
getting better
pandemic
and
that
better
took
and better.
place,
So and with AI,
when there was
there's lots of
protests, you see the
motivation, so we have
protesters,
to
that
stay
the
vigilant.
range
Most
was
people don't even know this
huge. It would be
story
like
happened.
people
We
who
have
were
to
saying,
remind
I
people
think,
that this is a constant threat.
Yeah, they want
I
us to
think
forget how
freedoms
they
are being
tried to
taken
muzzle
away.
and did.
And then there was
Hundreds of
people who were
thousands
like,
of
you know,
professionals, thousands of doctors,
actually
members of
insane.
Congress,
I thought
Rand
actually were
Paul,
insane and
it
just
was
loon
year
brand.
after you and I exposed
And then
him.
everyone
A
gets
year
like
and a half after
bundled
he
into
was raised,
that
they were
one
censoring him.
group.
I mean, this is a U.S. senator.
I mean, at the time on our digital freedom platform, after we had Ike, Alex, after we had you,
I
on
think
the
it's
show,
really
I
important
had
to
50 other
everyone to
doctors.
get
I
their
know from
own
the Great Barrington
personal
Declaration,
message
I had
out
to
there,
put
you
it
know?
there. They were all speaking the truth, all being censored. Only now is some of that.
Thank you for
coming to the
tuning in
surface.
as well,
You're
man.
trying to save lives, and you're on your independent platform.
It's pretty
getting
late.
Millions, not tens
Where I
of
am.
millions, and it's so frustrating. Like you want to tell people, hey, vitamin C,
Yeah,
vitamin
exactly.
D, hydroxychloroquine. You want to tell them,
And
but you're
then
not
if we,
Yeah, and now
depending
we
on
know
what
why.
we
Now can
consume,
see all
it
the
creates our
evidence
own
of
little
why that was being
reality,
held
you know?
back. We can see the doctors that were persecuted. We see the science that was being
Which is
violated,
concerning
and I come
'cause-
from a science background, Alex.
yeah.
It's just hard.
Some
to
people
believe,
might
and yet most
believe
people
they're
still don't
shapeshifters,
really
you know,
know
it's-
it.
I agree.
I don't
So
believe
we
there
have to
is,
just
and then
make
it's like,
sure
how
it's
do you
front and center
convince these
again,
people?
Because again, it just goes back down under like
Is
you
it
said,
even
most
worth
people think
trying?
it's
I don't
over.
know.
It'll never happen again. That'll never happen again. It will happen.
then if
again,
they
and that
point
will be
out that, you know,
conditioned, so
it's
it'll
not
even
that
happen easier next time.
The shapeshifters are controlling everything, but you know, if they're pointing out things
There's
that
a
are
lot of
pro
scary
freedom,
things
it's like,
happening.
well, that part's
Again,
okay.
look
I
to
don't mind
China,
that.
It's coming here.
Yeah.
Look at what
Yeah.
they're doing with the CBDCs, the monitoring, everything like that. It's
See, this
slowly gonna
CBDC
come
thing,
here.
it just-
People think it's not happening, but it is. We
I
have to be
don't
really
know.
vigilant, Alex, and that's
I
why
don't like it.
independent media is crucial. It's crucial what you're doing, what we're doing, and what Tucker's probably going to do.
Well, that was my next question. You're a former, very successful banker and Wall Street guy. Looking at the world economic situation, where is it right now?
Well, you know, it's pretty interesting to see what's happening. Obviously, during lockdown, we saw the massive printing of fiat currencies. I'm here in Austin because I'm at the blockchain conference. So
See,
we're looking at alternative forms of money.
I wonder what they'll say
alternative
about
forms of
rates, 'cause
communication
I'm
that don't
hearing
require these institutions
that,
like banks and governments. What we're looking at is a pretty dire situation. And again, what we're trying to do is give the power back to the people. What I want is for people to have a relationship.
Can you
with money,
imagine that,
because I
dude?
think,
Like, everything
I had a
is
guest on my
like-
show recently, Alex, named Dan Held. He's out of Texas as well, and he said, Brian,
Can you
without
imagine that?
financial freedom, we can't even have freedom of speech.
You're right. That's the foundation.
There's
Yeah, it is. It really is.
In fact, they say
Recently on
first,
Twitter,
yes,
again,
speech is number
could
one,
be fake.
defense is number two, but
they were able to make like I think a pizza ad, and the whole thing was generated and looked pretty realistic by AI, like a whole little TV ad.
Yeah, and look what they're doing.
And imagine once it gets really good,
the one in China with the yuan,
they could put together this show, and you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
People already have access to it. The U.S. is rolling out this FedNow program in July. People don't understand the ramifications of this CBDC. Imagine them giving you money.
Nice and slow to just make sure the chat says everything right. A little stutter at the beginning to make it seem like he's like not as professional.
It can be suspended at any point in time. You want to talk about controlling the people? It'll make the information, the censorship on Web 2 platforms, the masks, it'll make it look like child's play, Alex, when they can pull your money at a moment's notice. And yet I think people still don't know it's coming. So we've got to fight back against this and keep.
See, I like this. I can appreciate this thinking though.
Good news. 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, we're talking about central bank digital currencies. Nobody knew what it was. Now they've got legislation. Senators are talking about it. House members.
But then you try and explain this to them.
Curve, but it's not fast enough.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, but London Real's talking about it. Alex Jones is talking about it. It's like, no, just listen to the words, you know.
And they keep people busy with look over here,
use your logic,
and all of a sudden,
and then see what else is being said.
Something. Now, Alex, I know so many people in London who were quote unquote forced to take the vaccine, taxi drivers, all these people who were pressured into doing it.
Dude, I think with jab, I feel like the pandemic woke up a lot of people's realization that freedoms are not so free.
I totally agree with you, Brian. I could ask
so many people just rolled over.
You know,
this is actually a pretty big interview, though, really, between London Real, because he has a large audience,
what happened
and
to
so
us as
does
far as the censoring, because it's
Alex
continuing to
Jones.
happen,
His
and
audience
it's
is
going to
pretty
come
large as
back
well.
in another wave that I think is going to be even worse. So what I want to do now is just decentralize.
It's funny. I think this is normal.
I want to get it peer to peer. One thing I didn't
watch
mention
a lot of this
is
content.
that big live stream we did on May 3rd.
But then I realized I come into contact with other people and they have no idea what I'm talking about. It sounds insane. But then it comes true and they're like, hang on.
So what you're literally
where did you hear that?
By using it, by us doing it, by them using it, we're building
It's
it.
crazy, man.
Yes, and that's crucial, and it has to be money-based, it has to be community-based, and information-based. If we don't build this now, and we've got a short window, and check the AI coming, we don't really have much of a future. It's all happening very fast.
Well, let me back up what you said. You said
if you think about
the restrict tab
so much with what they're talking about,
if you use,
but it could be applicable.
VPNs, they can put you in jail.
Yeah, that concerns me with the VPN usage. I'm seeing everywhere.
In the name of countering Huawei, it has nothing to do with Huawei.
I'm seeing everywhere. You know, you can't even go to like Bunnings with a VPN on. It blocks you out. So frustrating.
When I read the bill, they've got that.
Okay, it's another one. It might be Bunnings, but it's just Office Works. I think it is. You know, they're owned by
once they have a
one large
record of all of your
corporation.
information, all of your activity, then it's very easy to go after you in the future for anything that they choose.
Yeah,
so this is
I think you're right.
Again, you power with AI, it gets even more.
And the thing is, like, are we going to get to vote on a CBDC? I don't think we are. I feel like it's going to be rolled out, and then we're going to be left going, what do we do now? What do we do now?
Do you think things will be better if we submit or worse?
But I think we can push back, though. Like if we write to politicians, write to, if there's talking papers, you know, push back heavily.
Looking at this,
get into positions of power, you know, push back from there. Who knows?
Tucker Carlson, that's why InfoWars is so important. This former top Army psychological
nothing
warfare
dodgy,
operations
just
officer
like
Tucker
legally, lawfully, you know.
He's decompartmentalizing and showing people the big picture, because once the average
and I feel like this is along the lines of what they're saying, but then they're not allowed to be on YouTube. But then, you know, a small channel like this can. Then I think if you get larger, it'll get picked up, and then you get kicked out and censored.
And all you have to do
and then
is
it becomes hard,
Alex.
because how does one, before they even get large, break through the not the matrix, break through the filtering of their information?
They make it out as if they are.
Because if you're, you know,
elites build something like this, because chivalry
talking openly,
people said don't attack women and children because they
other people may or may not agree with you. But then if you reach a point of followers or something, and then just say YouTube takes you down, then it's like you've just been, there's no, it's unlikely you're going to grow.
It's counterintuitive, but if you could empower everybody to be the best version of themselves,
when we are able to use different platforms like decentralized platforms, then, you know, then we should be able to get our own, like, as long as they're not absolutely insane or illegal or something, get our own talking points out, get our own points of view out, and then we can, you know, fight back legally, lawfully, peacefully, politically. You know? That's what I think anyway.
And going into Ukraine and starting a war with Russia, and then they do a counteroffensive, and then now they're moving away from
I don't even want to look up the endless wars. It's insane.
They thought one-dimensional.
Yeah, this is evidence they're not as smart as we think they are. They're playing checkers. You think they're playing chess. They're just not. And it's not more complicated than that. Like you said, these knee-jerk reactions, sometimes short-term views.
Endless wars, you know.
Over time,
military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned off.
It's effective.
But more than just them being, because they are the grandchildren of the elites, and they are decadent.
You hit the bloodlines.
But they have a lot of competent people working for them. But Hitler knew when he attacked Russia, he'd probably lose. He knew when he started a three-front war, North Africa, Russia, and with the West, that he'd lose. But if you read his writings towards the end, he said, my main mission is just kill all the Jews and wreak havoc, and the Germans deserve to die, you know, and he flooded the subways, and he knew he was getting Germany annihilated. He just liked the ride. Because we have to kind of understand, these psychos just like
the background.
I think we got some real psychos.
Just the Matrix one.
Very possible. I mean, you look at some of the behavior and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And they've been in this power position for a long time. I think they're also using
that Pulsechain one. I'm pretty sure I just pulled that from YouTube.
It's easier for it to work in the past. I mean, we didn't have people
Thank
like
you
and me in the past,
whoever created that one.
So yeah, they aren't making obviously the most intelligent decisions, which is great.
And this goes on for a little bit more.
And push forward, but it needs more people to be aware. More people to just push back and
say, this is interesting.
No.
I like this.
I'm not giving you that information.
Thank you for tuning in as well.
I'm not going to allow that to happen with my schools. I'm not going to.
I realize how much people think of themselves as little.
So powerful.
Exactly. All of us together, little decisions are big.
And it just has to. All
we
you
are
have to do is
empowered,
step up. And I know it's going to be slightly inconvenient, but you just got to push back and say, no, we are not having this. We are not accepting.
Because giving in is a trillion times more inconvenient.
Yeah, it is. And again, you're
this is what
going
we talked about
to
before.
your children and to your grandchildren, and they're going to ask you questions. What did you do in the 20s? What did you do?
Imagine, man, like
push back, and you're going to have to give
I was
them
thinking,
an
if I have
answer.
kids
And
the jabs are all forced,
unless we all stand up,
they'll never know a time when that wasn't forced. You know, against X, Y, Z.
It does rhyme. We have an
There's nothing against that. That's fine, but I feel like I don't know.
We have the 20s leading into the fascism and World War II.
What if they're born into CBDCs? That's the next thing. What if they're born into not being able to purchase a petrol car, for instance? You know,
we had Robert Kennedy on the digital
has to be electric. So okay, cool, the tech's better, but like,
it's fascinating to see him now coming out and pushing.
I can still go back and buy like a Nintendo 64 or a Super Nintendo. Maybe it's hard to get the cords and stuff, but I can still go back and buy it.
The best-selling books in the.
But then it's like, nah, they're banned.
Of course, it's not on the New York Times.
That's a different story.
Suppressed in all way, shape, or form, and yet people don't even give him a chance. That's the thing, Alex, about people like you.
I'm doing a challenge. I don't know if you want to do it too.
I mean, what you talk about. All they know is that people say
don't have any
not
kids
to
and
listen
stuff.
to you. You actually listen to Kennedy for 10 minutes. You realize
extremely busy work schedule.
Very knowledgeable guy.
I'm trying to wake up at 6 in the morning.
Who'd make a great president?
Yeah,
go to gym.
President. Same with you. You same with people like
do it for 30 days and see how it goes.
They con everyone.
I'm hoping by the end of that 30-day period,
they're bad.
Maybe there'll be an update on Pulsechain. I don't know. Software's hard and there's no expectations.
Of what they're talking about, thinking about.
So if I get my own house in order,
and realize,
you know,
that I know you want to just watch movies at night and have fun and eat dinner and you work all day. But folks, we're going to lose everything we don't do this. And it's also an animating contest. So whoever they're saying don't listen to, you should listen to.
Yeah, exactly. If someone is telling you not to listen to someone, you should want to go seek out and find out why. And yes, you said
we're from the government and we're here to help. Remember that.
I always say, what am I going to tell my children and grandchildren when they say, Papa, what did you do in the great crisis of 2020? Did you sit back and watch Netflix on binge? Did you go have a snack or did you fight? We all need to be proactive about our future.
And notice they played to our laziness. Just stay home, drink beer, order Uber Eats, and then meanwhile the whole civilization collapses.
Yeah, and it was completely coordinated. And
no, I'm working with the enemy.
It controlled everything, and we fell right into it.
First, it was the large investment bank. Now it's Uber.
It's ultimately all about love. Like, do you care about the world?
For real.
The best for this world,
I'm trying not to do that.
I totally agree
super
with you,
hard.
From a sociopath view, and I'm not a sociopath, the opposite. I have deep empathy, but looking at a sociopath is thinking only one step
You might have
ahead,
like shift work, I'm not sure.
10 steps ahead. This is so destructive, this anti-human world.
Sometimes I can't sleep though. I'll just sleep like 5, 6, and I'm like, nah, I gotta sleep.
True liberal society is awesome, and that's what everybody wanted. Why join corporate fascists saying they're liberals that are destroying it? I mean, 99.99% of people are not going to do well in this new world order. So even the sociopaths, why would you go along with this?
On what he's talking about?
Yeah, I know, it's mind-boggling, but
it might not be, I could be thinking differently. But what they're saying is,
It's worse than
one of the
past.
only way. This sounds
This is a
insane.
new system
US
now.
based for
New
US
ways of information,
dollar
new ways of,
inflation, but it will be applicable to
compensating each other
Australia
directly.
somewhat.
It's gonna break
They're
down,
saying,
but people can
imagine
see this is
if
a crack in the armor. This could be
everything
one of our last
that you
chances,
purchase
Alex.
is more
That's why we have to
expensive,
stay
so life
vigilant,
becomes
'cause it's
harder.
only gonna
So
be
the
more
only way to
advanced.
fight back against this new rate of inflation, and things being more expensive, is basically to earn more, and increase your income, increase your amount of
We could
money.
really have a golden era if we play our
So,
cards right. It could be incredible.
That's
It could be
insane.
incredibly golden, or
It's like
3 or 4
that's the
years from now,
answer.
it could be
It's like, so we just
much
need,
darker.
we all need to earn more.
Wasn't
That's how we have to get out of
2021
this.
with things
It's like
that we
how
can't
you
even
do it.
comprehend.
That's the
We don't
inflection
know.
point.
Yeah, it's happening right now, Alex. It's important, which is why, you know, what you're doing is important.
Maybe,
That's why we're putting
just
this
maybe
movie out now, just to
Pulsechain, you know,
remind
maybe
people what
Hex,
happened.
Pulsex,
It's only going to get
some
more
other things, I'm not
advanced in the
sure.
future.
Well, I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you came to Austin. You reached out. Of course, we'll let you on anytime you want via Skype, Zoom, or when you're here in person. Tell us more about the movie. Where do we find it and bookmark it and promote it? LondonReal.tv, or is there a URL for the movie?
Yeah, so it's londonreal.tv/movie. We are going to premiere it
that's
in
interesting.
London on July 28th. We have a big event.
I think it's
We'll
closed
premiere
now
it around
soon.
the world in different cities, and we'll
In
also have an
closing,
online premiere afterwards for anyone who wants to support it. We're
if anyone
also
else is watching this on the replay
distributing this.
and has got to this
I'm gonna
part,
bake it into the blockchain where it can never be
stress
censored
test,
ever.
Pulsechain,
Because I don't trust it, Alex. I do not
deploy
trust,
the DDoS
it's
attacks,
staying
try
out
and
there
break
forever. I
it,
want to make sure people can always
try and
watch it.
break it.
Brian, you asked me, because we only talked like 30 seconds before we went live today,
I haven't been touching it.
how I'm doing.
I probably won't,
And I said, I've never
but
been doing better. You basically said the same
When I get
thing.
round to, if I get round to doing it, I'll just be like spamming as hard as I can, but I can only click so fast. So I'm not sure if people can make bots or what, whatever, I don't know. Maybe there's an AI bot.
Once you do it, you get
I can
addicted
just
to it.
automatically
We've not been fighting tyranny.
move
Once you do it, it's exciting.
between wallets, I'm
It's
not sure.
Like it's some horrible
That's even
grind
possible.
we're getting into. We're designed to promote free will and justice and freedom, and it's been good guys and good girls, good ladies that haven't been engaged, kind of leaving it to the establishment that have allowed this. I think the Rita.
See, I like this. I like this. This message. You know, it's like a positive message.
And once people, as you said, figure it out, it's addictive to do the right thing. It's in ourselves.
Yeah, and I love being part of the team that's on the right side of history. When I did that
I like
broadcast
connecting,
and
you know.
reached out,
I
Alex,
love these
in addition to
streams.
Celebrities from all over
Every
the world
now and then
people
someone will
with tons
jump
of
on, just have a
influence said,
chat.
Brian, we're with you 100%. I'm telling you, Alex, people want to be in this fight. It's what we're here for as humans, to protect what we value more than anything.
I can't help
You were
that
a
I fall
huge
into
part
the
of that,
trap.
Alex. I just want to say thank you.
The laziness, the
Fight Club
sleepiness, you know.
microcosm.
I gotta
about 3 years
kickstart
ago,
my
when
everything.
When that was happening.
That's
I was
it.
saying to my
Working
brothers, I love
harder,
this
getting
guy
up
on, he's
early,
awesome,
training
he's got
harder.
interviews. Get him on the show. They're censoring him. We got to talk to him. And I walk in the house at night. My wife's cooking dinner. She's got the iPad on.
I have been
watching
pretty lazy
you
with
and
jobs,
David
though.
Icke censored deal. And I was see that's
I could
the
be doing
synergy.
a whole
And
lot
then,
more. But
I was, the next day at a friend's house, and they had it on.
Decisions.
And then I think I told you about this.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to Joe Rogan on the film, and he said, "Have you seen this?" So I mean, it was like, you love to see that zeitgeist happening.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're over the target.
Yeah, that's when you know, and people should sense out for those things and sense out like-minded people. And if this message is resonating with you at all, come join us. We need you out there spreading this information, talking about these important issues. It's crucial, and it's not hard. All we have to do is push back and say no.
1 minute left. Why are you living in Airstrip 1? Why'd you move to London?
You know, I moved there 20 years ago, and it's been a beautiful thing. I feel like I'm an outpost out there, speaking the truth, Alex. You know, I'm an American in London who's now a Brit, and I was in the right place at the right time to really put these messages out there. And I feel like I'm kind of an outpost for all the great work you're doing here in America and a lot of other people. So for me, that's home. I am London Real. London Real is me, and we're just going to be.
So that's how I was
pushing
able to
these messages
travel.
out there.
Because I can't go to the
Where
US.
should they go to share the
I'm a citizen.
trailer? Because I want to share that
So you
trailer.
can be jabbed.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have
Still
it on
ahead.
Real.tv
I saw the travel.
movie. I'm sure you're going to probably put it on band as well. But
Great. Guys, grab it and put it on band right now. Put it on the front page of Infowars.
beautiful, man. Alex,
Brother, love you.
appreciate you too, sir.
Thank you for coming on, and it's so exciting. You're taking us over the top, all of us together, brother.
Let's do it, man. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Freedom. Cha cha cha. Alright, on that note, I've got to sign out. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about, but I haven't got much more. I'm trying to stay off of the internet because every time I go on there, it just seems like it's getting worse. Not the internet itself,
want to get
but,
this message.
you know, what is taking place. But yeah, break Pulsechain in the testnet. Do it, people. DDoS, attack, go. Spam. Spam the network. But I was thinking, I'm pretty sure there'll be devs that would be assigned to do that. Like there was, you know, blue and red team back on the other ones. Cool. All right. Signing out. Free speech. Signing out.